All right, let's jump right in. We tend to think of a roof as, well, just a roof, the thing that keeps the rain out. But it's so much more than that. It's really a shield, a guardian. It's your home's absolute first line of defense in a battle that's raging above your head every single day. So I want you to just stop and think about this for a second. What is your roof actually up against, day in and day out? It's not just a bit of weather. We're talking about an all-out assault from the climate, and the fight is way more intense than you probably imagine. And this quote right here, it just nails it. It gets right to the heart of the matter. Everything you value, your family, your photos, your peace of mind, it's all living under that one single structure. And if it fails, everything is at risk. The stakes couldn't be higher. Now, to really understand this battle, we've got to pick a battlefield. So let's zoom in on a place like Universal City, Texas. This is a spot where the weather isn't just weather, it's a relentless, nonstop gauntlet that puts any roof to the absolute ultimate test. Okay, first up in this gauntlet is the heat. And look, we're not talking about a pleasant summer afternoon. This is that intense, baking Texas sun that literally cooks your roofing materials day after day for months. Then, and it often comes out of nowhere, you get the second major threat, severe hail. And these are not tiny little ice pellets. Texas hailstorms can be incredibly violent, basically acting like a barrage of tiny hammers pounding away at your roof, causing damage you might not even see until it's way too late. And finally, there's the constant nagging pressure of high winds. Gusts that just whip across the landscape, prying and pulling at every single shingle, just looking for one tiny weakness to get under and start tearing things apart. Now get this, 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Think about that. On a hot Texas day, the surface of your roof can get that hot. You could literally cook on it. And what's happening to your shingles at that temperature? They're not just getting hot, they're being slow cooked, breaking down, becoming brittle and weak day by day. So we've got heat, hail, and wind. A nasty triple threat. But how do these things actually lead to a failing roof? Well, this is where that big picture assault becomes very real, causing tangible structural damage. I like to call these the four horsemen of roof failure, especially in a tough climate. You've got thermal degradation from that relentless heat, you have wind uplift from the gusts, there's direct impact from hail damage, and of course, failures in those critical flashing seals. Every single one is a major problem. And this right here really puts that thermal degradation into perspective. A shingle manufacturer might say, hey, this will last you 25 years. But the reality under that blazing Texas sun is you're lucky if you get 18. That's 7 whole years of protection just gone, baked right out of it. And the other horsemen, oh, they're just as destructive. Hail doesn't just leave a dent, it creates a bruise in the shingle mat, a hidden weak spot. Wind is insidious, it doesn't need to rip off the whole roof, it just has to break the seal on one shingle to start a catastrophic chain reaction. And the flashing, the metal seals, all that expanding and contracting from the heat eventually breaks the sealant loose, creating a direct highway for water. It's a relentless, multi-front attack. Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's talk about solutions. How do you actually build a defense that can stand up to this kind of onslaught? Because it's not about luck. It's about science and it's about smart construction. Believe it or not, the defense starts with a layer you'll never even see, the underlayment. For years, everybody used felt paper. But in that intense heat, felt can wrinkle and fall apart, basically creating little rivers for water to run through. Modern synthetic underlayments, though, they're engineered to stay flat and resist tearing, which gives you a much more reliable secondary water barrier. The key thing to remember is that this secondary defense is just as important as the shingles on top. Now, this is an absolute game changer. Proper ventilation isn't just about keeping your house comfortable. It creates airflow that literally stops your attic from turning into an oven. And as we've already seen, that oven cooks your shingles from below. So, a cooler attic means a longer-lasting roof and, hey, lower air conditioning bills. It's a total win-win. To fight the wind, you need a specific blueprint. And in places like Texas, this is actually written into the building codes. An enhanced nailing pattern, just more nails per shingle, gives you a stronger anchor. Starter strips lock down the most vulnerable edges where wind can get a foothold. Special self-sealing shields in the valleys stop wind-driven rain. And step flashing woven into each shingle course creates a layered defense. These aren't minor details, folks. They are the difference between a roof that makes it through a storm and one that doesn't.
And that brings us to maybe the most critical point of all. You can have the best, most expensive materials in the world, but if they're not installed with precision and expertise, they're going to fail. The difference between a 10-year roof and a 25-year roof, it's all in the details of the installation.
So, what does a quality job actually look like? Well, it follows a clear, systematic process. First, you've got a thorough inspection of the wood decking, the very foundation of your roof. Then, precision installation of all the materials, following the manufacturer's specs to the letter. Next, meticulous, careful attention to the most vulnerable areas, the flashing and the seals. And finally, a final inspection to make sure every single detail is perfect. That's the playbook for a resilient roof.
So, how do you make sure you're getting that level of quality? Well, you look for manufacturer-certified installers. And listen, this isn't just some fancy title. It means they've had ongoing training, their work is checked, and, this is crucial, it unlocks enhanced warranties that cover not just the materials but the labor too. That's your quality assurance, that's your peace of mind. Okay, let's bring it all together. We've seen the threats, we've explored the solutions, but the real takeaway here is about a shift in mindset. Your roof isn't just some passive part of your house. It's an active defense system protecting your single biggest asset. And we come right back to this essential idea. It's not just a cover, it's a shield. A shield that has to be specifically designed and built to handle the unique climate extremes right where you live. Its strength is everything. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. After everything we've looked at, the heat, the hail, the wind, the science of a strong installation, is your first line of defense actually ready for the next battle?
Because ultimately, it really does all come down to this: being proactive, understanding the threats, and investing in quality before there's a crisis. That's not just smart. It's the only way to make sure your first defense holds strong when you need it the most.